Hey, this is me building and strategizing a $2 million a year business in public. Last month I made 139 grand, and next month I want to hit 167. So this is basically my journey. The way that this works is I start with some Q&A where I go through my channel, my daily updates channel, one that you're watching right now, not this one. And then I answer a bunch of questions from people that have left me Qs in the last 24 hours. And then after that, we do a little bit of brand stats. So I actually show you my growth in the last day, basically what you can expect if you try and run a similar mixed agency and info product business. Then finally, I will go over some strategy. Today's going to be short because I'm taking my gun license in like 2 hours. So I don't really have too much time, to be honest. So probably not going to do really much strategy today, but let's do a little bit of QA, give you guys some value regardless. Thomas says, "Hey Nick, I'm at the beginning of my automation career, and I would only like to thank you for all the content you put out. Not only are your videos incredibly insightful, but they provide value like no other channel. I've been enjoying watching your daily updates as they serve as a daily reminder of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it helps me understand what a successful person in this field is thinking. Every time I watch another one of your videos, it lights a fire in me to get back to work." I appreciate everything you do. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you, Thomas. Yeah. Comments like this keep me going. It's weird. There's like an economic, there's like a currency exchange thing between good comments that you get and bad comments. Like if somebody's like, "You're a dumb asshole who is a trust fund kid," it takes like 10 good comments to outweigh that. but I just kind of had that realization that, like, when people write stuff like this, in your case, Thomas, you probably spend a few minutes just like expressing your gratitude for me. So thank you for that. Yeah, very, very much appreciated. Thanks. Yeah. I get a ton of value from all you guys as well, obviously. Both monetary and then just in terms of this being one of the most gratifying things I've ever done. So I'm excited to see how far we go here. My Advertising Plus says, "Hey Nick, just want to say thanks, bro, for all the value you share. Thanks to your live builds. I just closed my first client for an AI agent build worth $1,500. I really love this new way you're taking on the second channel. Feels so engaging, especially how you're interacting with the comments. Makes the whole experience feel more personal and connected. Great job. Awesome." Ben, dude, you guys are front loading the love. Oh man, I don't have any questions here. You're going to make me tear up here for real. That's crazy. Thank you, man. And great work on the $1,500 build. Fantastic. Okay, Giuseppe, same thing. Thank you very much. Man, I really appreciate everybody here. Thanks. Okay, Real to Yusuf says, "I'm aware of AI automation being lucrative. The thing I doubt is that AI automation is actually a skill like copywriting, video editing, ads, and SEO. This confuses me to the thought that it is actually something valuable to be sold." Well, whether it's a skill or not does not really impact its ability to be a valuable thing that you sell, right? Like people sell nuclear missiles, and nuclear missiles are not a skill. They're the byproduct of a bunch of other skills and a bunch of combined efforts. So I think there's probably like a little bit of a logical thing here we could clear up. But aside from that, yeah, let's do the two things. So is AI automation actually a skill? No, I think it's the concert of a number of skills. Like to be a very good automator, you need to have strong attention to detail, which I believe is a skill. It's not just something you're born with. You need to have good like systems and process thinking. And then also to be a good AI automation specialist, like you do need to have a good understanding of business needs and business problems. So a lot of people will come into this industry from a technical perspective where they deeply understand the systems, they deeply understand, like first principles thinking, they get all that stuff. But then when it actually comes to like the business parts, they spend hours and hours and hours fussing over some tiny use case that nobody's actually going to care about because that's just not how businesses work. Businesses don't care about these tiny, perfect academic edge cases that, you're typically rewarded for solving if you're a programmer or if you're in school or something. So yeah, it's really like the concert of a number of skills. I mean, I obviously lean very heavily towards the business one more so than anything else. There are definitely a lot of people that are just parts of my communities these days that are like way, way more technically gifted and talented than I am. But the reason why I make more money is just because I lean heavily over to the business side. I understand the value of that. So it's tough for me to really say more. And then like if you wanted to extend this and say, not like AI automation being the skill, but like the ability to run an AI automation company, then obviously, a good AI automation company owner will need to know a little bit of copywriting. They'll need to know a little bit of video editing or ads or SEO realistically, because jack of all trades, master of none, but it's still better than being a master of one. So that's the full quote in case you guys didn't know. So that's really, what you do as an AI automation company owner. Yeah, anyway, it's something very valuable to be sold for sure. But the value isn't necessarily just in the automations. The value is in how the automations work with your business. So, it's not just that like you make this automation. The automation itself is super valuable, but the automation just speeds up a process that pre-existing is already really valuable. If you're unfamiliar with this whole idea, generally you need to have some sort of process map in place. You need to have some sort of flow that does generate money, and then you add automation to it. You don't try and like build the thing around an automation. I talk a lot about this in yesterday's video, so check that out if necessary. And I'm totally about to sneeze. Don't do it. Holy crap. Oof. All right. Rodrigo says, I did sneeze. A reader, I did sneeze. He says, hey, Nick, despite my business not being in the AI niche, I love your content. I'm a high-performance coach helping 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs optimize their health and performance to scale their businesses. Since my target audience is sophisticated entrepreneurs like you, what would be your advice on the best way to get their attention? Do successful people even notice cold outreach anymore? And any thoughts on using automation tools without coming across as spammy? Thanks in advance. Yeah, I think this is an awesome question. Listen, there's a ton of value in cold outreach. And in fact, I would actually say successful people probably disproportionately notice cold outreach. I don't think it's the same for everybody, but for me, everybody that I work with today just reached out to me cold and had basically no pre-existing like big sort of experience. Maybe they work with like one big channel or they did something at some point in their life, but really I was just more impressed by their candor and then their gumption and their ambition, all, good things to look for in a team that you are building. So successful people do notice cold outreach actually. I want you to think about it like supply and demand economics, okay? Like, if supply is up here, then demand is over here, right? When supply is high, demand for a specific service provider is low, okay? Now, the opposite is also true. When supply is really low, obviously the demand for per capita on the service providers is really, really high, okay? So this is demand, and this is supply. So there's sort of two cases here, okay? Basically, the fact that tons of people are doing cold outreach means that there is a massive supply right now of shitty cold outreach, really, really, really bad quality. So there's a ton of shitty supply out there. So, as you can tell, the demand for shitty supply, the demand for the shitty supply, the shitty outreach is very low. Okay, but on the flip side, okay, there's a dearth, there's a scarcity of good outreach. And so the demand for good outreach is actually really, really, really high. What does good outreach look like? Good outreach looks like you solving a problem for the customer, putting it right in front of them, and then demonstrating that you've done actually a little bit of work before you even sent the message or done the video or created the asset. Good outreach is respecting that, if you're going to be reaching out to these people that are making a ton of money, then basically every minute of their time has some sort of monetary value attached to it. And so you need to be very careful about like the way that you present the information. You need to like consciously think, okay, how do I present the information in such a way that I answer all the questions that this person is getting as they read through the outreach that I'm delivering them, right? Like my first thought, like always at the start of any outreach is, oh, is this customized or am I part of a sequence? If I'm part of a sequence, I'm basically automatically going to be dumping this in trash, right? So my very first question is this outreach somebody actually sitting down on their computer and writing it for me? If so, just because of patterns, it's probably higher value outreach. And then I'll actually read the next thing. So from your perspective, verify that immediately, right? After I've verified, okay, this is custom. What's my next thought? Why the hell is this person reaching out to me? Why did they spend the time to actually write the message or create the asset or link the Google Doc or whatever the hell they did, record the video, right? So how do you answer that question? You give them the best benefit in the whole wide world. You say, hey, you're currently doing X, Y, and X, but I feel like you could do Y and make 10 times the money. I know a lot of people send you these sorts of messages, but like here is exactly the roadmap in 30 seconds. Like if I get outreach like that, I know the person has sort of put themselves in my shoes and been like, hey, Nick's probably pretty busy. He probably reads a lot of these emails. What sorts of questions is he having, and how can I answer them as conveniently as possible for him? And then, when you demonstrate that you've actually done something, like you've created some asset for me, or I don't know, maybe it's tough for me to say, but maybe some sort of performance breakdown schedule. Maybe you watch some videos or scrape YouTube videos of a person that talks about what they do in a day, their schedule or something. And then you mention it briefly and you're like, I think you could actually improve if you did X, Y, and Z first instead of this other thing that you're doing. Like if you do that, create maybe a little mini doc and then send it over to somebody that makes, 100K a month plus like me. Like I think we're going to be a lot more likely to respond. I mean, I know I'm going to be a lot more likely to respond because that is every person that I'm working with right now. To be honest. So yeah, there is a lot of value in using automation tools without coming across as spammy. Just make sure that like you still answer the core parts that I mentioned here and that you still have all those core bells and whistles. If you do, then, you're basically just pouring fuel on a fire that is raging. And that's really, the value of automation. Okay, to answer Henrique's question, I'm using a Samsung Q2U, and then I have a couple of little tweaks that make this a little bit better. I pass all my videos through this service called Ophonic. Ophonic is just like an AI post-processing service. Once you drag and drop your video right over here, it goes through and it just like, it normalizes the audio. So it makes it sound like I'm really close to the mic all the time, which is nice. So it increases the volume. Then it also does like some compression and removes the reverb and stuff like that. So that's pretty sweet. Car Showcasing CSC says, the fact that you took 5% of your day to make this video, not including planning, editing, and posting. Thank you, Nick. Your videos are literally changing my life. I should clarify, I don't plan or edit these, and the posting takes just like 30 seconds to a minute, for sure. Like, just to be totally candid here. Your videos are changing my life, not just in automation, but in mindset. You have the mindset I want to have. Keep doing what you do, brother. I have a question as well. Do you see chatbot? Thank you, Car Showcasing CSC. Do you see chatbots being so good that the prompt will be as easy as telling it who they are, giving them a knowledge base, and then Bob's your uncle? Thanks in advance, Brendan. Yeah, Brendan, I do. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a matter of time. We're already getting to the point where you could have really good, seemingly customized conversations with them, just GPT 4.5. So GPT 4.5 is the new model that was just dropped. So the time of this recording, I think like a week ago or something. And it's a very good model. So I've no doubt in my mind, like the next generation of models, you will simply be able to say, hey, this is the business. Here's some stuff that they do. Do it. It'll automatically pick up the tone of voice. It'll automatically pick up what you want it to do. Hell, it'll ask you a question when you initialize. It'll be like, hey, just to be clear, like, do you want me to book appointments? Like, what do you want me to do? So a lot of this stuff is going to be done for you for sure. And then your point of leverage is going to change. It's not just going to be, I don't know, I'm at freaking back of my head so ishy today. But your point of leverage is going to change from like actually installing and implementing a chatbot with like a bunch of agent features that do, I don't know, function calling or tool calling or whatever, into just like knowing where the tools are and then the simplest and easiest way to deploy them for the customer. So yeah, for sure. We're going to get there pretty soon. Probably not for like at least another year. So there's still a lot of value in maybe 6 months or something like that. There's still a lot of value in knowing how to do it now, but your impact investor, what is going on, man? Thank you very much for always leaving the most enjoyable comments in all of my videos. Seriously, nonstop value. Every time I read I actually look forward to seeing this like blue green lake forest thing because I'm like, oh my God, I'm probably going to be tearing up again. All right. I'm going to answer one more and then I'm going to do the brand stats. And then maybe for strategy, I'll just briefly cover a few things I did in the last 24 hours. Sarcasm says, hey, Nick, really love seeing your VAPI video recently. And it's been something I've been trying to implement in my ads agency to appointment set ad leads into my client's Google Calendar through outbound calling. Okay. I got a lot to say about this. I'm trying to figure out how I'd be able to do this at scale for multiple clients without having to get my client's Google Calendar Gmail login so that I can connect to the make scenario. As most people won't feel comfortable sharing their login, would love to know how you go about getting access to a client's Google Calendar. Good. As most tutorials online only show you to do it for yourself and not a client. Also, comments are glitching for me, so repost this. Ignore it if you see it twice. No, I don't see it twice. So, okay, I will answer this question first. But after, I'm gonna touch on this because I think this is really important to mention, okay? I don't think what you're doing is good. I understand the idea, but I think you're kind of losing the forest for the trees here. You're losing the lake for whatever the forest is. So what's the easiest way to do this? Okay, so basically you have a, okay, well, there are a couple ways, all right? So the first way is you just get the client to make you a Google Workspace account on their thing. Okay. And then you have some SOP where you or your account is invited as a user on all the events automatically. And so now that calendar that you have now has all of the same events for basically all the salespeople, right? So that's cool. So we've solved that problem one way. Another way is Google Calendar allows you to share a calendar. So you can actually share a calendar with somebody, and then have those events fill your calendar. So this is how you do that. Nice animation, Google, really crushing it. You end up with a list of my calendars here, and then when you actually do the automation, you can run through the specific calendar that you have shared. You also have the ability, when you share a calendar, to share like specific events that you want. So if any of these people are using their calendars for something maybe a little bit more private, you don't have to see them. So that's me answering your specific question. And there's some nuance here. Hopefully, I at least set you on the right direction. Like you're gonna have to do the config and the settings and stuff like that on your own. But yeah, that's how you do it really in practice. Those two ways. To answer your question, or to answer the implicit thing here about you've been trying to implement a VAPI outbound caller in your ads agency, I don't really think this is a very high value approach or good. Like if you think about it, the probability that one of these models will say something that will make the person on the other end think that they're talking to a robot, okay, or at least devalue like decrease the perceived value of the sales interaction in the first 30 seconds is really high. Like we're getting to a point where the callers are pretty good, but I wouldn't use this as an outbound caller right now. I might only use this as like an inbound caller or like a voicemail drop machine or just some super simple templated flow. But for something like an outbound call, like these leads are gold to you, right? Like you just spent realistically, I don't know. I mean, it depends on the CP, the cost per booked meetings, and it depends on the industry and stuff. You might have just spent like $40 on this person, right? Are you really going to risk a 20% chance that the person just doesn't want to talk to AI and feels like they're getting spammed or something? Like that means that every time you make one of these calls, like the probability of you closing is way down. So you're wasting the CPM, cost per booked meeting. Then you're also wasting the potential upside. Let me show you the math on this, okay? I just scroll all the way down here. I never recommend using AI in these sorts of outbound approaches unless it's to minimize the time to lead. Like if you don't have a team capable of, wow, I have a lot of notes here. If you don't have a team capable of calling somebody within like a minute or something, if you don't have a text message setter or something capable of doing that, then it's fine to use AI to like do the initial, like just the initial text message to say, hey, Sean here, I just noticed paraphrased version of whatever the person said. You pass that through AI to generate. That way it seems like it's a real person. Do you want, do you want to jump on a quick call, or do you want me to book the appointment for you right now? Or, I'm actually here at my desk. Let me know where you're at. Like you can definitely do that. But anyway, so here's the math. Okay. The math is, let's say your cost per meeting. I know this is CPM, cost per mil, but let's just go cost per, okay, let's just say CPC. The cost for conversion, aka your booked meeting, is $40, right? So it's like $40 per meeting, basically. So you just spent in PPC costs, I don't know, it's like $4 a click, and you have a high conversion rate, times 10 clicks. Then you spend $40 per meeting. Okay. Good God, I clearly haven't had any coffee this morning. And yeah. So if your CPC is $40 a meeting, let's say your customer lifetime value on the deal is $1,000. Okay. That's really not that much, but let's say you make $1,000. So let's say a human being has a success rate, and in our case, success rate just means like their ability to set the appointment, of 25%. Let's say AI has a success rate of even just 20%. Okay. So there's just a 5% difference. Okay. What that means is if you get 4 CPC, let's just do 10. Okay. You get 10 meetings that come in through the human route. If you get 10 meetings that come in, you have a 25% success rate or something. What is that? That's 2.5 times 1,000. I'm saying success rate here. I'm sort of confusing closing with setting, but for the purposes of this demo and the fact I don't have too much time, just bear with me. The value that you are making off of this campaign is $2,500 per this 10 meetings. Okay. Okay. And then you're spending, to be clear, you're spending $400. So if you think about like your ROAS or whatever, your ROAS is like $2,100. Okay, and then AI, these 10 meetings, well, you're only converting 20% of these, right? So it's 2 now. 2 times $1,000 means you're making $22,000 that you still spend $400 on, meaning you're actually only making $1,600. So there's a $500 difference in this, right? So the $500 is your cost. What did you gain? Okay. What did you gain? Well, you gained obviously an AI doing it instead of a human being. So if you are booking 10 meetings every day or something, okay, hypothetically in your campaign, what you're doing is you're making 48,000 a month. Over here, you're making 63,000 a month, right? So there's a gap of basically 15,000, right? So 500 times 30 obviously is 15,000 a month. So you gain $15,000 a month. Okay, you lose $15,000 a month. What did you gain? You probably saved like $3,000 a month in some setter cost, maybe like $5,000 a month in some closer cost, but you've still lost the opportunity. Like you've lost $15,000 there because of that minor difference in closing rate, 25 to 20%. Probably not the best explanation. I guess what I'm trying to say is the upside and the downside. The upside is like, $5,000 a month because you don't have to hire a closer or a setter or somebody to be around all the time. In this case, assuming you book 10 meetings a day, which I understand is it's quite a few meetings and most people here probably aren't booking that. The downside in this case is $15,000 a month. So sure, you get AI, okay, to do stuff for you, and you get to be like, yeah, we're an AI company, but you lose $10,000 a month on this differential, okay? If you half the number of meetings, and so now you're only getting 5 a day, well, the equation now is you make $5,000 a month, and then you lose $7,500 a month. So even then, okay, you're still losing $2,500 a month. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this only would ever make sense if you have just such a low lead or meeting or booking volume or whatever that it's almost not even worth it to be at the point where you're like willing to going to be implementing the system. And if you're at that point, you want to squeeze every sale that you can anyway. So there's just really no point to use one of these AI models aside from doing like a quick text or something to verify that the person has actually like gotten some sort of connection. So yeah, that would be my recommendation there. Just going to leave it because I definitely am running out of time and I got to go for a drive pretty quick. So that's that. For brand stats, just for posterity, it looks like my daily updates channel is getting pretty close to the monetization point, 2,500 now. I love seeing that, man. That's crazy. We've only gained 17 followers in the last 24 hours. Womp womp. That's bad. Probably my worst day on record, realistically. But that's okay. We're just zooming out. We don't really care about the near term as much as we care about the long term. And then my Instagram channel, let's go blast up right here. My Instagram channel, this is just a tracker. I don't pay for followers or whatever. It's 35,547. 35,547 right over here. Meaning we've also grown by another 1,121. The virality spike that we've had over the last few days, obviously going down, right? So that's all right. I expected all this. These virality spikes, they can't last forever. But the gap is closing really quickly. So pretty soon I'll be at least pound for pound, like from a sheer follower perspective, bigger on Instagram than YouTube. And then this will be monetized very quickly because even though the sub count is slowing, like the new subscribers come in, my watch time just continues to grow because obviously people are in a habit where they're watching these sorts of videos every day. And I think the reason for that is threefold. I think one, you develop some habit where like, I don't know, you're eating lunch or something. And then like my video pops up and you're like, oh yeah, let me watch Nick's video while I'm eating lunch. So you get to save some time and whatever. It's good. Probably Monday to Friday at least. I'll check the stats on that. That'd be interesting. The second is that, obviously you really like what I do and you want to support me. And then the third is that there's some chance that I'll answer your question that day, right? So you want to like chime in and check in to see. And then maybe my content's just so engaging that you end up watching anyway. So my watch time continues to go up, which is ultimately what I care about. So all positive stats. And then in terms of what I did in the last 24 hours, if you guys remember yesterday, my to-do list was huge. I had like 10x these tasks. Now we only have 4. And I'm going to start building my website live on future videos using a Webflow template, just so you guys can see my thoughts behind the branding, positioning, copywriting, and so on and so forth. I'll probably do like 20 minutes a day while I do it. And if anything else comes up, I will also include that in the daily update. So that's where we're at. Hopefully you guys appreciated this video. I'm going to go get my gun license. Wish me luck on the test. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I will see all y'all tomorrow.